I am so excited about this next panel discussion. You've heard now Jim and now Jimmy, and now now you're gonna hear from all three of them with Alex. We're super excited. So without further ado, I am going to welcome Jennifer Broom, Jimmy Chin, Jim Morrison, and Alex Honnold. We're good?
Hello, hello. Welcome to our party. Oh, come on, you're in the hot seat again. Let's do this.
Hi there.
Obviously, I think you guys all know these three. All right, guys, so we're going to have a lot of fun on this. You ready? Let's go with advice first. So, Alex, you're 40. Going for the ages first. Why not? Jim and Jimmy, you're in your 50s, in the 50s club with me. Wow. What advice would you give to your 20 or 30-year-old self? And Alex, you first.
Oh, man. Maybe the wiser older fellow should go first.
Oh.
I could answer that.
Go for it. You just got called the older, wiser man.
I called him wiser.
Nothing.
All right, good advice. Good advice there.
No, because, I think I did okay.
I think you did too. I think you did too. Jim, what would be your advice to your 20 or 30-year-old self?
My advice would be watch out. There's a lot coming and a lot that's going to happen, and just keep going and get ready for it, because life just throws curveballs at you, and good things happen and bad things happen, and there's a lot to come.
All right, Alex, have you had enough time to think?
Yeah, I suppose so. Actually, I'm not far off from Jimmy. I don't really have any particular advice. There are a few things that I would do differently training-wise and things. A younger me, I'd be like, I think you could have been a little better if you tried a few things differently.
He would have started his lattice training.
Yeah, exactly. I would have started sooner and would have trained a little harder. But, that's pretty niche. But in general, I'm sort of like, yeah, just go. It's been a good ride.
So
I do want to qualify what I said, though. It's only because I actually, for this book I just wrote, and I asked Ridley Scott, the director, he's directed Gladiator and Alien and Black Hawk Down and all these other films, but when I asked him that, he said, nothing, I did all right. So I kind of stole that from him, but I've been thinking about that a lot, because the next thing he said was, he was like, I had to experience everything I did to get where I am right now, so there's kind of no cheat code to it, is basically what he expressed to me, and I kind of thought that was poignant.
Okay, well, kind of still sticking with advice. So, Jimmy and Alex, you guys have gone through the mega onslaught of publicity and dealing with the scrutiny of media and global publicity with Free Solo. So what advice are you guys giving Jim as he is about to walk through that same mountain with working title Everest North changed to Everest the Other Side?
Is that actually the title? Everest the Other Side? Wow. That's cool. No, my advice is just embrace the ride. For me, the Free Solo film tour was a total once-in-a-lifetime crazy thing, and I really just embraced it. We did events nonstop I called it my deployment to Hollywood. It was like 6 months of just doing Hollywood. And I was kind of like, this is the only time I'm ever going to do this, and you might as well just embrace it for what it is and have a good time. And honestly, the whole experience for me, I was like, it all felt surreal, it all felt wild, and I was like, it's fun while you're doing it, but I was like, man, if you had to do this all the time, like if you were a real actor, it'd be such a grind. But if you're just dropping into it for a moment and sort of having this once-in-a-lifetime experience, it's kind of amazing. So I think, if this is your moment, just enjoy the next few months and just be like, this is crazy. It's probably a crazier ride than actually skiing down Everest, I'll put it that way. That's just a few hours. Like months of events, you're just like, whoa, it's too much.
And Jimmy, what would your advice be for Jim? Because you're going on that ride with him.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like Alex and I just reversed advice, because I thought he would say what I was going to say, which is, I would say the same thing. Like, you just have to embrace it. I have to remind myself also a lot that it's a privilege to be in the position to be able to do this, and you just have to embrace it. But the key for Alex and I was that we told our publicists in the studio, like, we get 3 uninterrupted hours at the climbing gym, not including travel to and from, and Alex and I would go climb our brains out, and then I would do half of Alex's workout, and it was the strongest I'd ever been climbing in a gym anyways. And yeah, you kind of have to protect your space a little bit, or they'll just, yeah, they'll eat you alive. But we had a good time. We got pretty strong climbing, and that kind of helped make it possible.
Well, so I think it's really cool that this is the first time since, Jim, you skied the north face of Everest. Alex, you summited Taipei 101. And Jimmy, you just announced your new book. This is the first time that all three of you guys are on a stage together. So I want to dive into these recent accomplishments. And Jim, I'm going to start with you. Why was skiing the north face of Everest so much more challenging than any of the other big mountain expeditions you've done?
Besides the fact that it's the biggest mountain on the planet, and it's a really long and steep and scary face, I think it was really challenging for all the little logistical things that went into making it happen. And that started with sitting Jimmy down and trying to pitch him on the idea of doing this together, and him wanting to make a film about it, and all the years of COVID preventing us from getting overseas and getting onto the mountain, and then just a lot of curveballs that we had thrown at us along the way. And ultimately it came down to building a perfect team and trying really hard and not taking no for an answer, and trying over and over and over until we finally succeeded.
And Alex, why Taipei 101?
Well, honestly, it's kind of the opposite of Jim's answer, just because it's super fun, it's kind of chill. I'd scouted it 10 years ago, but hadn't had the opportunity to climb it at the time. It was for a different TV thing that fell apart. And so it's funny because I think the Netflix show, makes it seem super dramatic, and, it's so crazy. But honestly, it's so fun. I mean, and it's so chill compared to climbing expeditions. I mean, what Jim's describing, where it's several month trips to Everest, where there are avalanches, there's just the whole experience of going on a climbing expedition is such a big thing. Whereas going and staying in the Grand Hyatt for a week and climbing on a building, it's pretty chill. So it's kind of like, so for me, even though it seems super dramatic in the Netflix special, I'm kind of like, man, it's so fun. To me, that's like family-friendly climbing, where I'm like, I wasn't away from my kids very long. I had a relatively easy objective, super fun. Like, it's all great.
Your version of family-friendly climbing and the rest of our version is a little bit different.
Well, so an expedition in the North Face of Everest, not family-friendly climbing, because it's like 2 months away, high objective hazard, low connectivity, challenging time zones. Like, everything about it is hard, and you're kind of wasting away, and just the training for it is absurd. Whereas the training to climb the building, I was like, oh, that's literally a video of me in my home gym training. I'm like, that's my garage. I could take my kids to school, train in my garage. I was like, this is a pretty chill way to train for a climbing objective. It's really different than climbing the biggest mountains on Earth.
All right, Jimmy, so you just make it so nonchalant. So your new book that you just announced, Rules to Live By, available for pre-orders. And it's so cool because you have these conversations with people that inspire you, and a little bit of a different avenue for you versus filmmaking, photography. Why? Why did you decide to write this book?
I don't know why. No, I mean, writing I'm a photographer and a filmmaker for a reason, so I don't have to write. And writing is an excruciating task for me. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's similar to the motivations of a lot of what I do, which is just the curiosity if I can do it and hopefully learn something from the experience. But I would say at the heart of it was just, I really wanted to have an opportunity or an excuse really to talk to the people that are in the book, and I had questions I wanted answered, and that whole exercise, I would say, was, I can say it now because I finished it, but was deeply satisfying, like any project that you have to suffer for.
Okay, well, kind of keeping with that theme, you three working together. So Jimmy, which was more difficult to film? Alex free soloing El Capitan, or Jim skiing down the north face of Everest?
I mean, they're hard to compare on a lot of levels because, you know, working with Alex on Free Solo was new, in some ways much higher stakes than anything I'd done before, and it was really what I learned from that experience that I applied a lot of to Everest and working with Jim. I mean, I learned a lot from both experiences, and you know, I felt like a lot of years of thinking about worst case scenarios and carrying that and thinking about that with Alex really kind of prepared me for that, what felt like, you know, even higher stakes, because there was just a lot more people exposed to high risks on the north face of Everest. Not to say that there aren't extraordinary risks, you know, rappelling into El Cap, but different environment. Rock is a little bit more stable, or a lot more stable. Anytime you introduce snow into the situation, there's just a lot more variables. But you know, knowing how to do that mentally and emotionally coming off a Free Solo definitely prepared me better for the Everest project.
And Alex,
but also, I mean, is it worth just, I mean, Yosemite is just so chill compared to the north face of Everest. I mean, Yosemite, you fly into San Francisco, you drive a couple hours, like even if you're up on El Cap, you're kind of like, oh, this 3,000 foot wall, you can run down the backside in 1 hour and you can be at the pizza deck in, you know, 10 minutes later. It's like, that's really different than the north face of Everest. It's like there's no hypoxia, there's no, you know, multiple camps, like all the stuff that it takes to climb Everest. It's just so different, so remote. I mean, it's the biggest mountain in the world. El Cap is, you know, I mean, one of the reasons it's such a great climbing objective is because it's so accessible. So, I mean, I think it's hard to compare the projects.
But there's also rockfall and things that can happen.
There's not really rockfall in El Cap. I mean, that's why El Cap is so...
Thunderstorms, lightning that can happen. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it rains a couple times a year in California, but it's just not like, I mean, it's so different than trying to weather the monsoon on Everest. You know, it's like... Yeah.
Okay, so that's all true, and he is pointing to a fact that, you know, Everest was a lot different because we were, you know, climbing together, and we were all moving together, and we were all exposed to kind of the same risk. When Alex was free soloing, he was, you know, without a rope. We were all clipped into ropes. On this one, we're all clipped into ropes, but the relative risk that we were all exposed to, although, let me take that back. Jim did ski the direct north face of Everest, and he was not clipped in, and so that part of the experience is very different. So in some ways, I guess it was similar, but
who would you think was going to fall? Who was more likely to fall?
Well, skiing, you basically are falling. You know, it's like...
Well, I would say this. I mean, obviously, there are variables that are outside of my control in terms of, you know, things that can go wrong that are unanticipated. If I thought that Alex, you know, this is the big thing about these projects, is like I had to have like absolute trust that these guys are the best at what they do. And, you know, under pressure, I knew that they performed, and they, you know, would be able to step into that space and do what they do the best. And so I would say I felt equally confident that Alex was going to send it, and I felt equally confident that you were going to send it. I really believed in it. And I certainly wouldn't have made films about it if I didn't absolutely have that trust in them.
Well, so then I want to ask, and Jim, when you are standing up there and you're getting ready to clip in to ski the most audacious ski run in history, how important was it for you to have a friend as the director of the film and being in a very pivotal moment in your own grief journey? having that emotional support?
It was really important for me to have Jimmy there on the whole project and the whole adventure of getting there and making a film about it. And it was amazing having a confidant who I could bounce my ideas off of and talk about the conditions and talk about skiing. He's a skier, he understands it probably to a higher level than he understands how to put your foot on something that isn't really a hold and pull on something that isn't really a hold and make through a section of a really difficult rock climb that somebody might consider chill. But on the summit, when I looked at Jimmy and I looked to my partner, who I'd been through this whole multi-year journey with, to look for support in this moment where I had to transition from climbing to skiing, he was just like taking selfies with his buddies and partying and having a good time and celebrating the fact that he made it to the top of the north face of Everest.
That's not exactly true, but sure, we'll take that.
Well, and Alex, what was it like for you having your great friend, and kind of that, when you made it to the top and that embrace that you guys had, what was it like for you having him as a director, having to take some direction from the director?
Actually, I mean, I will say in the case of Free Soloing El Cap, I don't think there was that much direction, really. I mean, I think probably less so than with the Everest project. There was a little bit less collaboration. I mean, and not to say that I didn't get a lot of help from the film crew, and obviously everyone was supportive and everything, but it was all pretty intense, and I think it was a little more self-directed. Nobody was like, you can do it, go for it. Everyone's kind of like, you follow your heart, and we'll support you either way. But definitely nobody was like a confidant per se. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously it helped having the film crew. Like a lot of the prep work that I did was facilitated by the fact that there was a crew there, and so it was nice to work with the team, and they're all my really close friends. Not just Jimmy, but everybody on the team is a close friend, and so it helped to have the team to work with. But when it came down to it, it was very much like something that I want to do, and everyone else is kind of like, well, if you really want to, you can, but we don't need you to. It's like nobody really wanted it.
All right, guys, we're going to shift a little bit. Let's shift a little bit into mindset. We're going to have a little fun with this. Besides, go to the bathroom. What's the first thing you do in the morning? Do you meditate, journal, visualize, yoga, stretching, or do you drink coffee like the rest of us?
Drink coffee 100%, straight to the coffee maker. No water, no meditating, no breathing, just coffee.
No breathing.
Jimmy?
I don't have any specific ritual that I do.
You guys are
every
not giving us
single
like
day.
earth-shattering, you would think.
No.
I can tell you, Jimmy, I get up and I make coffee and I drink coffee and I make eggs and I'm eating the eggs and I'm like checking my pack and I'm getting everything ready. And Jimmy rolls out of bed 2 minutes before departure time, puts on a t-shirt, and he's like, okay, I'm ready.
That's true.
Yeah. Alex, what about you? Go for a run? Go for a climb in the garage?
No, I've got two little kids. I've got a 2 and a 4-year-old, and so literally every night now it's like musical beds. If the little one comes into our bed or somebody goes in the other bed, somebody switches, somebody cries during the night, or one of our babies just was sick and puking a bunch, and so it's like a total junk show every day. So most of my mornings actually start with me waking up and being like, oh, I don't want to stir because there's a sleeping baby that came in the middle of the night and my wife's asleep, and so I generally hide under the covers and read the news and just kind of like be really still for, sometimes like 30 minutes, because I'm kind of like, as long as they're still sleeping, life is good. And so, but I think in some ways I would challenge the whole premise of the question, like his morning routines, I mean, like obviously it sounds cool to be like, I wake up, I run, I journal, I do all the things, but I'm kind of like, what matters is what you do with the day.
Yep.
And so in this case, it's like, I basically spend every morning hiding, trying not to wake any babies up. But then once the day begins, then, I eat well, I take them to school, I go climbing, I train in the garage. Like, the core of my day is pretty set and I think well executed. It's like the morning routine doesn't matter so much as like how you spend your day, I think.
Okay, so Alex, take us back. Skyscraper Live. You looked so much more relaxed on that. I mean, you're, looking at people in the window and, talking to the crew, down below. So much more relaxed, I would say, than you did in Free Solo.
Yeah, because Free Solo was really freaking hard, and the building is not that hard. The building is super fun, like this crazy scenery, all good times. Free Soloing El Cap is really hard. And actually, I mean, for those that climb or that know anything about climbing grades, I mean, the grade difference is vast. Like there's a severe difference between the two.
But the mindset had to be a little bit different, though, because a lot of times you go and do your free soloing without thousands of people around, right?
Yeah, that felt a little bit different, but actually, so one of the main things that I think I learned from the building that I sort of embraced just in the days before I actually did the climb was that, historically most of my solos are totally alone. I mean, free solo is kind of a notable exception in that the film crew was around, but those are all close friends and we worked together for a couple years, and so it kind of felt okay to have them there. But most of the things that I've soloed in my life, I'm alone, and I do definitely prefer that. But with the building, you just can't do that. And at a certain point, I was like, you know what? You just have to embrace the way the conditions are. It's kind of like accepting the weather or something where you're like, well, this is just the way it is, so I just need to embrace it. And actually the primary challenge with the building was kind of in the pace. Like basically if you go really fast, you get blasted. Kind of like if you do a CrossFit workout and at double pace, you just get, your whole body is just so smoked. Whereas if you go slowly and kind of pace yourself, it feels easier. And so basically I just realized that if I took my time and sort of waved to people and like had a nice experience, that not only would it'd be kind of better for the viewers, it'd be better for me because I'd be kind of going slower, I'd be having fun. The slower I go, the more relaxed I am, the easier it feels, the less tired I get. Basically, it was kind of a win-win kind of cycle. And so basically in the day or two before, I just embraced like, there's nothing I can do about the crowds. I might as well just embrace them, go slowly, have a good time, feel comfortable, and it worked out great, you know?
Say hi, take some photos with them along the way.
Yeah, one of the things I was most bummed on in the building is I tried to give somebody a high five through the window and he was too busy taking a selfie though. I was like, come on, like put your freaking phone down. It's like, this is so cool. I'm like giving you a high five and he was like, no. I was like, come on.
It was also cool though, and I think the photographer's name is Al. Is that one of the guys where when you got to a certain point, you were like, oh, hi, Al. You know, where was it Al?
Maybe not Al. Let's see. I'm like, there's Pablo. It's all the same people I worked with at Free Solo for the most part.
But you got to like a level.
Brett.
You got to a level point where you got to like wipe off your shoes, and it was just so funny. It's like, he really is nonchalant about this. While the rest of us sitting at home are wringing our hands and pacing back and
So
forth.
in some ways, that's a credit to the cinematography. I mean, that's kind of the point of making these films and making these programs is that, you know, when you get the right angles and the right cameras in all the right places, you're like, it looks insane. It looks so dramatic. And yeah, I mean, that's a credit to good filmmaking.
All right, so Jim, I think you might be one of the most resilient people I think I've ever met. Your grief journey is so intertwined with your mountain success. And I have to ask, what about grief has taught you about resilience so that you can go for these challenges?
I mean, I think I should just follow Alex and be like, it's just chill. It's pretty easy. Yeah, I just have to say one more thing about that. It's really a testament to who he is that both of these wildly different endeavors are so different in his mind and so simple, and so that one was hard, not totally incredibly crazy and extremely difficult. And he's just someone who puts such a care and emphasis on all the training and all the details that go into it to make it where he can do it casually and easily, and it's not hard. But that's, as everyone here knows, really, really unique. And in terms of my grief and resilience, they're very intertwined. I think I've been through a lot and I've experienced a lot, and through that process of losing my loved ones and trying to figure out how to keep going, I've learned that I've become resilient. And I think it came through a lot of hard work that I've done over the years, talking to my therapist about this feeling that I had as a human being of what would happen if something terrible were to happen and how I would act, and telling her a story about a terrible crash and somebody being injured and somebody being killed and me jumping into it and helping someone and then walking away from it and just picking the phone back up and calling her back and saying, I'm fine. And I thought there was something wrong with me that I could do that. And she helped me understand that that's resilience. And I've started to take that forward and decide, okay, that's a good thing. And I started to tell myself that's a good thing. And that's made a big difference in my ability to move through the grief and move through the things that have happened and find ways to be happy about life and be excited about what's next and be focused on what's happening right now.
And find that joy, putting one foot in front of the other. All right, guys, let's talk about physical training. because you three excel at a whole different level than the rest of us. So Jimmy, last month you posted on Instagram, ABT, always be training, with a photo of Alex hanging between 2 shipping containers in Antarctica. How do you maintain a workout routine while traveling, filming, and doing press?
I mean, I don't really, but I do my best. I think it ebbs and flows a lot. There's a lot of different motivations, and I draw from different motivations at different times. I mean, obviously, like when I was on the free solo tour with Alex, having a partner that was constantly frothing to go to the gym and train is, you know, helps.
You know he went and climbed before coming here, right?
What's that?
Yeah, I invited Jimmy, but
Yeah,
couldn't
he
come.
called me, but I had we had our talk, so he wanted to go run a lap up Superior, which I would have absolutely done if I had, well, I didn't have anything but these shoes, but then I also thought I could probably do it in these, but yeah, I mean, it's there's that aspect of it when you're traveling full time and you have 2 kids and you're bouncing back and forth between New York and Jackson, or you're traveling for work, and you're, you know, milking any free moment. I mean, I think I did a lot of what Alex did today too. You know, you grab these moments to try to get out. But, you know, for Everest, there was 3 years of attempts, and, you know, when you're facing a project like that, and, you know, you're always thinking about the variables you can control, the variables you can't control, but like fitness is something you can control, and you don't want to show up there having not covered that variable. So, you know, we ended up being really motivated for years training for this climb, and, you know, when you have objectives like this, it keeps you really motivated.
So Jim, how much are you out there right now? I mean, you know, you give yourself a little bit of a break after a big accomplishment.
Well, I went to the gym and went for a run between this morning and now, so I'm always trying to train for life. That's something Jimmy and I kept trying to tell each other is what we were doing, because we got so frustrated with the repetitive nature of year after year after year. We just decided we're training for life instead of we're training for this goal. But I think, you know, I feel really, really good today, and I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to be in this body that's done so much for me, and I'm trying to figure out a nice balance between being a half-hearted enthusiast and not overdoing it and not wearing it out and not getting old too soon, and being at my peak physical shape and being able to still do new things that I haven't done in the past.
And Alex, I mean, obviously, you like jump out there and go at any point in time. I have to ask you, how much are you actually free soloing versus free climbing and just climbing?
In general, I haven't been soloing that much. Largely just because where I live, I've done most of the things I care about, and I'm spending a lot more time at home because I have 2 little kids, and so I've spent a lot more time training in my garage and just kind of at home. Though actually in the last couple of weeks, basically the only climbing I've been doing outside has been a little bit of easy soloing, because I basically take my kids to school and then I go solo at this certain cliff, and then I come home and train in my garage, and then do pickup. You know, it's basically just like, yeah, it just depends. But that's kind of because I'm in sort of like a training mode right now, and I'm pretty psyched on physical training. But at the same time, I love doing little adventures outside, so easy soloing is a nice way to kind of scratch the itch, where you're like, oh, I got to go outside, have a nice day on a cliff, do something beautiful, but then, you know, still actually train hard.
When were you not in training mode? Training time?
Literally always. Yeah.
Literally always, just to clarify.
No, but different things. You know, sometimes I'm more motivated for like gym training and just trying to get strong. Other times I'm more excited about adventures, so I'm doing way more volume outside and climbing mountains and running around, and you know, kind of depends what kind of goals and what I'm excited about.
Okay, so let's talk about a sport that you've tried that you didn't excel in. And Jimmy, I'm going to you first.
Well, I can just say every sport other than climbing. It's like literally bad at everything else. So I could just settled on climbing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really actually feel like I'm excelling at any sport, but because I'm surrounded by these mutants. But you know, I do my best to try to keep up, and I mean, I don't know, like I surf a lot, or not a lot, but it's something that I've, you know, been doing for over 20 years and that I really love. And it's nice because there's no pressure to be really good outside of, you know, trying to,
Not drowning.
yeah, or surf, you know, bigger, cooler waves or whatever. But it's the same thing. I mean, everybody around me, or at least that I go surfing with, is like we're really good or a professional. So that's one that I don't feel like I excel at, that I've tried really hard at.
All right, Jim.
That's a subtle hint that he was lobbing me the surfing as the answer, because we went surfing together, and I would say Jimmy's better at surfing than I am.
Oh, good times. You got rolled by the waves.
I'd spent a lot of time paddling, a lot of time paddling.
Actually, can I just jump in actually and kind of give Jimmy his due here, because we're talking about fitness, we're talking about training, whatever. And I will say that I think a similarity between the Everest film and the film Free Solo is that basically to make a good film requires being in the right place at the right time. It's like access, basically being fit enough to kind of stay with the team and stay in front. And I will say that to Jimmy's credit, he's always been fit enough to be out front with a heavy bag, be out front with the camera, be able to take the photo, shoot the video, whatever. Like basically just to get into the positions, like get to the top of the mountain, you know, in time for sunrise, things like that. And so, you know, you might not have to be the world's best runner or the world's best climber or whatever else, but he's always been fit enough to get into the correct place at the correct time with a heavy backpack. And that's kind of like the base level fitness required to make either of these films. And that's not easy to do, you know, especially with the amount of work and travel and lifestyle and all that. Just like staying fit enough to run around in the mountains and feel comfortable being in those positions is challenging. And I think, you know, to his credit, Jimmy's always been very good at that. Just like,
Was that a compliment?
they come rarely, but you know, when they're deserved, they do come sometimes.
It's taken 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's because I'm softening now that I'm a girl dad. You know, I got 2 little girls. I'm slowly softening.
Well, speaking of softening and diving into social media, I will have to say I so appreciate finding Cedar Wright, because, first of all, he's hilarious. But secondly, Alex, he showed you puking on Mount Kenya, and he also showed Cedar and Jimmy laughing at you with your ski abilities. So Alex, I want to ask you, in doing these kind of like collaborations and having the highly successful podcast, 4 million followers on Instagram, you seem to be having a whole lot of fun with collaborations right now. Is that part of a social media strategy, or are you just out there having fun with your friends?
Yeah, no, there's definitely no strategy. I just do random things with my friends. I mean, the thing, the puking on Mount Kenya, I was like, I've never been that good at altitude, and I was like dying, and so I puked all over the mountain, but I made it to the top. Great success. And then we all went down. You know, I mean, I think a lot of the thing with the collaboration stuff is like not to overthink it. It's like I'm going out with some friends, we do a thing, whether it makes a good content or whatever or not, it's like, who cares? And to be fair, I basically never see any of this stuff anyway. So I'm kind of like, Cedar can put out whatever he wants because I won't see it. I don't care, you know. And yeah, so yeah, that's my take.
Yeah. Okay. So Jim, how are you dealing with the pressure of increasing social media presence leading up to the premiere of Everest: The Other Side?
I'm not really doing anything different. I'm just sort of doing what I do and living my life and being myself and accepting what that brings.
And Jimmy, how are you handling it? Because you were juggling 50 different balls up in the air. And in a sense, I guess I also want to ask you, do you think social media has improved adventure storytelling or complicated it?
Well, I think just to set the baseline, I don't think Alex or neither of us have the Instagram app on our phones. Just, I don't know. That's probably something to understand. Like, it's part of, our work.
Right.
It's part of, our presence in the public, but I don't put too much weight on it. Obviously, if I don't look at it every day, but, there are moments when I, use it and leverage it to, like release a book or talk about a film. That's not to say that I haven't put effort into it in the past, because I have. And there are also moments, I think both Alex and I, if there's a real authentic moment, we'll put it out there.
Well, you're doing something right, because you have 3.4 million followers.
Yeah.
Just on Instagram.
Sure, but the same with Alex. I don't think there's much of a strategy unless there's something that I'm using it for. But in terms of your second answer, I think we talked about it earlier. Obviously, social media has democratized a lot of how you put content out in the world, and media-wise, there used to be only a few gatekeepers and only a few avenues to be able to kind of flex whatever your creative self, and now, I think that it's really, like all things, there's a bright side to it and a dark side to it, but has it pushed, the content and creativity out there? I think it definitely has,
Yeah, it's not social media per se, but just having smartphones, like having a really powerful small camera in your pocket at all times definitely helps with adventure storytelling, because the whole thing is that you're in these crazy places. It's like beautiful views, beautiful sunrise, it's like you're just able to shoot things, and whether photos or video. But I think that's what's really changed adventure storytelling. It's just the ease of being able to shoot it. Because if you had to carry a big camera at all these places, you're just like, well, no one's really going to tell those stories. It's too much work. It's too hard to get there. But when you just pull your smartphone out, you're like, this is insane, and people.
Yeah,
are
like you pulling a phone out on the top of Taipei 101.
Gotta get the photo.
One
Yeah, it's
shot.
funny because actually, that was the folks in the showrunners were kind of like, you got to take a selfie on top, and I was kind of like, is that cheesy? But then I was like, realistically, I probably would take a selfie. I certainly would take a pano on top. I'd stand there and shoot, because you see the whole city, and it's freaking insane. The view's amazing, and so I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
All right, so let's talk about naysayers, criticism, and motivation. And I'm going to start with kind of a fun question first. So, Jimmy, what's something about you people assume is true, but is completely wrong?
People assume he's very handsome, but in fact, he's actually, sort of only a little bit handsome.
Really ugly on the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's a question we should ask of each other, because it's hard to be objective about yourself. I don't know how people perceive me.
Okay, how do you think people perceive Alex?
Oh, God, do I have to be first?
You can't throw back a question, and then I'm not going to throw it back to you.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Well, God, I'm trying not to make it a compliment.
You guys really are brothers.
I'll go. I think people perceive Alex as this superhuman individual who's able to take on these incredible challenges and do them with ease, and just be nonchalant about it and make it look like he's having fun climbing up the building. And then I think when you get to know him, you're like, oh, that's completely wrong. He's having a blast climbing up the building. He is nonchalant about it. He is better than the other people doing it. And it's just, the perception is here, and he's actually here.
And I would say, I feel like
superhuman.
I feel like that we got to see a little bit of that. We got to see a lot of it in Skyscraper Live, So, all right, have you come
But
up
now
with
you
your
got to go,
answer
Jimmy.
yet?
Well, I guess it's fairly similar with, and Everest the Other Side hasn't come out yet, and I think that's going to really change, to some degree, Jim's experience moving through the world. But I think anytime you have professional athletes or people in the limelight, of course, people have all kinds of narratives and perceptions of who they are, seeing what they've done. And one thing that people don't see, though, is all of the work getting to that place. And without seeing that and understanding that, I think it's easy to have a lot of misperceptions about people. And it's like what Jim said, it's like we all create these narratives around people, and it's just always different when you get to spend time with them. Maybe not everybody, I mean, but in general, I feel like that's true.
Well, Alex, how do you deal with the naysayers? Because look, there's a lot of people out there that like to voice their opinions, and how do you shut out that noise?
I was like, can we say F them? No, you just, no, I mean, there's not that much noise, honestly, because like Jimmy said, I don't have any of the social apps on my phone. It's not like I'm trolling comments online. You're just kind of like, you know, I mean, I care about the opinions of my friends and family, but my friends and family are all pretty supportive. I mean, they're not like encouraging me to go soloing or to do any of these things, but they do understand the effort that I put into it, how much I care about it. I don't know, I mean, I'm not really surrounded by that many like naysayers in real life. You know, it's like it's only just commentary online and stuff, and you're kind of like, who cares? You know, it's like you just don't, I don't know. Like people never come up to you on the street being like, you're an idiot, you shouldn't do that. So you're kind of like, I don't know, it seems fine.
Well, all right, so Jim, as you are...
Actually, I mean, so a deeper, I mean, do we have time? I'll just rant about a thing.
Go for it.
I don't know, I haven't talked to these guys about it so much, but like leading up to the building climb, I actually thought it was kind of interesting because ahead of the climb, there was all this commentary online around, you know, basically like you shouldn't take risk, your father, blah, 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 like this is stupid, this is all bad. And anyway, I'd randomly read some other books at the time. It's kind of a longer thing, but I thought there was something interesting around opinions around personal risk-taking, I think, and sort of at a larger societal level is like, how do you do big things in society? Basically, I was kind of like, you know, why are people so averse to taking personal risk? Because I'm kind of like, if you're afraid to take personal risk in your life, especially like well-informed sort of conscientious risk-taking, where you're like, oh, I'm making clear choices about the way I'm living my life. Kind of like, how do you do big things in the world if you're afraid to do small things in your own life? And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's weird to get so much credit. Basically, I was getting tons of comments from people being like, you should stay home. And I'm kind of like, sweet, like, yeah, you should just stay home and sit on your sofa. And I'm kind of like, well, how does anything get done in the world that way? Like, how do you build big things? How do you solve big problems? How do you achieve anything? Like, how does the world change for the better? Like, how, you know, it's kind of like, no, like, you shouldn't stay at home. You should do hard things. You just do them as carefully as you can. And so, I mean, it was interesting getting all this kind of like negative commentary around risk-taking, because partially I was also like, is this, I don't want to feel too old, but I was like, is this kind of just like the softening of society kind of stuff, where it's like, because it's so easy to just sit at home on your sofa and just like stream content nonstop, you're like, why ever go outside? Outside is dangerous. And you're kind of like, no, I mean, the whole world is outside. Like, how do you do anything real without getting out of your comfort zone? Anyway, that's my rant about risk-taking.
Good answer. Good answer. Well, Jim, how do you stay motivated to go back into the mountains and continue to go? And the reality is the world is going to know you on a greater scale for one massively huge accomplishment, but you've also had so many first ascents and first ski descents. You've done, you know, an Ironman. How do you stay motivated to keep going for the next challenge?
I don't have any trouble with it. I'm just passionate about going outside and taking personal risks and coming up with new goals and new ideas. And I wake up every day and sort of have a sense of I have to achieve something today, and I sort of start every day at zero. And it doesn't matter what I did yesterday, I have to accomplish something for myself, or I don't feel like I can put my head on the pillow comfortably. And maybe that's a personal problem, but it certainly motivates me to get out and go do what's next.
Well, Jimmy, how do you stay motivated once the big success happens, and then you go into the post-production phase of it, of doing the filmmaking post-production side of it? How do you stay motivated? Because that's a grind. That's a huge grind.
Well, knowing Jim, I think it's just funny to ask, well, how do you stay motivated? Because motivation is definitely not a problem for either of these gentlemen.
That's because Jim does coffee before he breathes. That's how he stays motivated. He's like, he wakes up and he just mainlines it.
He doesn't breathe, and then he drinks like a quad. Yeah. How do I stay motivated? I mean, it's the same thing. It's not that hard for me to stay motivated. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why I'm motivated. I was motivated and compelled to work on Alex's film for 3 years and motivated to work on Jim's film for 6 years. And it's not so much motivated to make a film. I mean, obviously I was compelled to tell the story because I felt like I saw something that I felt really compelled to share with the world. And oftentimes it's a simple instinct. It's like, I will see Alex, or I will see Jim, or I will see these two, and I'm like looking at what they're doing and who they are, and I'm like looking around being like, is anybody seeing this? Because I'm obviously really inspired and moved and on all these different levels, whether it's athletically or who they are, etc. And for some reason, and this one I don't understand entirely about myself, but I feel compelled to share that because I think it's awesome. And whether you're finished filming or not, that same motivation is underlying a lot of it. And of course, there's the other things like they entrusted me to tell their story, or you have an obligation to kind of bring forth that spark that I initially saw in the first place that made me want to tell the story and to do it responsibly and to tell it in the most authentic and true form, right? So there's no kind of lack of motivation, and I like to finish things I start, so.
Get to the finish line, get over that finish line. All right, so let's talk about travel and travel gear. So Jim, what is one item you take on every trip, even if it has nothing to do with expeditions?
This is easy, the AeroPress.
Okay. You are a coffee
It's
connoisseur.
a little coffee, little travel coffee thing.
All right, Alex, what's your favorite hack for dealing with jet lag?
I don't have a hack. You just go to sleep. No, I guess exercise. I think about where I'm flying and when I'm supposed to be awake or not, and then either sleep on the flight or stay awake on the flight, and then exercise when I get there, and just try to do outdoor activity. And basically, if you get tired enough, you'll sleep. And so that's kind of my strategy with jet lag.
All right, Jimmy, what's a piece of travel or camera gear that's worth every penny, and why?
A piece of camera equipment.
It could be a piece of camera equipment or travel equipment.
I mean, I'll be honest, photos, I use my iPhone and I take more photos with that and video than anything, so I guess I probably not paid to say that, but that's the truth.
Actually, so speaking of travel, so when Jim and I were doing the free solo tour, he always had this nice little travel backpack, little North Face thing, with laptop bag, like a carry-on backpack. And I was always traveling with climbing, whatever backpack I had from climbing stuff. Finally, I got one. I have the same bag, and I was like, it is better. There are certain kinds of travel things where you're using the proper travel gear, it does actually make flying a lot easier.
That's true. He did copy me on one thing.
No, I am using the same bag still.
I mean, you've gotten a compliment and he's copying you.
I thought that would be his answer because he has it here today. It's his North Face backpack, and he's really always has it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to talk weather. As you guys all know, I'm also a meteorologist, so of course I got to geek out with you. I want to know, what are your favorite weather apps?
I literally just use the iPhone, the built-in weather app. Basically because, for me, the weather, I just don't need that granular of weather. I need big picture, is it going to storm? Is it not going to storm? And basically the bare bones weather app on the iPhone works well enough to know if you're going to get totally hammered or not. And that's good enough. Yeah, if I was trying to climb the North Face Everest, I'd be doing all kinds of crazy actual meteorology.
Yeah.
But I'm just not. I'm going climbing for a few hours in the morning before I train in my garage. I'm just kind of well, if it's going to be snowing, the app's going to show it. Otherwise, it's fine.
Well, and you two have to do a little bit more of analyzing because you do have the factors of snow
It took
and
him
avalanches.
4 hours to climb El Cap. He just looks up and he's like, oh, it's not raining yet. I'll
Well,
just
that
go to
is
the top
honestly-
before it does.
Yeah, that is kind of it. You look up and you're like, well, there are no clouds right now, so it'll probably be fine by the time I'm done.
And we're in California, and it's,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, California is the best.
Yeah, but Jim, you also fly. You have your private pilot license, so I'm going to guess that you do a little bit more of analyzing radars and weather models and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I do a lot of it, and I think my favorite app are friends that really, truly geek out on it. So I'll call Mikey Schaefer, a friend of ours, and say, Mikey, what's the weather going to do? And he's looked at the National Weather Service website. He looks at his Windy app. He's talked to the guys in Switzerland who are working with us. He's put it all together, and he's melded it all into his own engineering mindset model. And I put a lot of faith in that. I have someone in my construction business who every single day knows what the weather's going to do and spends a couple hours a day worrying about it. So I asked Joe, what's the weather going to do today?
I will say the Windy app is a great app, especially for international travel. Just to let all y'all in on that little insight. Okay, so I do want to talk about the commitment you guys have for being climate advocates and sustainability, and the importance for Jimmy and Jim. Both of you are highly involved in Protect Our Winters. Jim, why is that so important for you? You're a board member, co-board chair right now, to be a climate advocate.
Well, I think it's a clear problem of our time, and something that we're all confronted with. I think we all know it's getting hotter, and I would like to think that someday when I'm old, someone's gonna say, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you care? And we're all just living our lives and going through it thinking that it's not our job, and yet it is. It's all of our job to care about our natural environment. It has provided me so much. It is the most important thing on our planet is our planet. And I just feel like we should all put a little bit of time and effort into raising the awareness of it and trying to do something to make incremental change to make the world a better place.
And Alex, you started your foundation before your free solo fame, and it brings solar energy access to people in marginalized communities. And you do it from South Memphis to the Amazon. You do it all over the world. Why did you decide to create a foundation specifically going to help others find ways to use renewable energy sources?
Yeah, so basically we've been funding community solar around the world for almost 15 years now, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, and I started the foundation when I was living in my van, and I started making slightly more than I needed, and I was kind of like, well, I might as well try to do something useful in the world. I mean, exactly like Jim just said, I felt like I should try to do something positive and have a direct impact. And to me, energy access always felt like a foundational issue, where you're kind of like, well, actually, I mean, like Jim was saying, it's like, I care most about the environment, just broad, like, oh, I want to make sure the environment is doing well. But I also kind of realized through climate expeditions, many of which I went on with Jimmy actually as a North Face expeditions back in the day, that, you know, by traveling widely, I just sort of realized that nobody cares about the environment unless their basic needs are met. And so if you're trying to solve environmental problems, but you're also not also solving human problems like in human communities in those locations, then it's like, it's just not, you know, you can't really solve environmental issues without bringing people out of poverty. And so solar, or you know, energy access, specifically solar, is just a great way to solve both those issues at the same time. And so we've been supporting solar ever since. And actually, we just approved this year. Fundraising has been going. I mean, maybe it's the result of the building stuff. Maybe it's just slowly snowballing. But basically, the Honnold Foundation has given $12 million away over the next year. Over the next 2 years, we just approved a new grant cycle of 62 organizations around the world. It's kind of amazing. So.
That's massive. That's massive. So instead of asking you three what's next, I want to ask, what are you saying yes to more right now, and why?
Actually, I'll just start. I mean, so I've been doing a lot of work travel and just like things post the building, and basically life has been busy because of kids and because of the building and just whatever else. And so I've just had a lot going on, and I'm now trying to just get out for little adventures. Like today I went and climbed the South Ridge of Superior, which I haven't been in Salt Lake City in 10 years or something really. And I just remember always loving the South Ridge of Superior, and so I hit up a handful of friends that live in town, and somebody was willing to just pick me up, take me up there. We climbed the mountain together, and I ran down, and now I'm all dirty, and I was like, what a great day. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to say yes to more. It's like I'm, you know, maybe a little busier than I used to be and still doing a lot, but I'm like, you know, if I put in the right effort, I can still have a cool experience everywhere that I go. Ideally, like have some kind of nature outing, have some kind of easy scramble in the mountains, do something that's exciting.
All right, Jim?
I'm trying to say yes to rock climbing. I'm passionate about rock climbing, and if I can find the time to go outside and go rock climbing right now, that's what I want to do. And I'm excited about summertime and So yeah, I'm just going to try to go home and find the time to get out there and do that.
You can always come down to my garage. It's always open. We've been going hard in the garage.
So Jimmy, I'm going to flip the script on you, and because I'm not sure you could say a whole lot, you could say yes to a whole lot more than you have going on right at this point in time. What are you saying no to more these days, and why?
Yeah, because my answer was going to say, I'm saying yes to no more. But I mean, it's funny because it's, as you can probably tell, it's actually not that complicated for any of us, like what we say yes to. I mean, if you really wanted to break it down, it's like yes to more climbing, yes to more skiing, yes to more getting out, spending time with people that we enjoy spending time with, that we want to have, you know, unfiltered shared experiences, because that's what it is to be out in the mountains or going climbing or, you know, doing the things that we love. And so the no is trying to, you know, no are the things that are taking me away from doing the thing. And so on a broad scope, it's not that complicated.
But that's kind of easier said than done, because there are, I mean, you know, for me with like little kids, and you have kids, and there's just always a lot of demands on time. And especially to climb at a high level, you basically have to climb hard a couple days, then you have to rest. And it's really hard to just take a rest day where you just bed rest. You know, I used to just live in my van, and on rest days, I would literally just stay in bed the whole day and be like, I'm resting. And then the next day, climb as hard as I could. And now there are just so many more demands on time that I never take like an actual rest day. You know, it's like I'm traveling, I'm doing events, I'm playing with kids all day, I'm just getting like work in the sun at the beach with a baby. You know, just like random, where you're like, oh, it's fun, it's great, it's a fulfilling life, but you're like, man, it's not quite a rest day in the van. So, I mean, yeah, it's easy to say that, but it's harder to do in practice, because there's so many other things that are worthwhile uses of your time.
For sure. I agree with that. I mean, there's always a cost to saying yes to, right? So it's like examining what are the things that like really matter, and what, you know, it's not like I just say no to my kids. I mean, that's, but you can incorporate it. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to say yes to taking my kids and having them go to Everspace Camp, and we're going to spend a lot of time outside together. So.
Well, on that note, guys, I want to say thank you for saying yes to being here. And I want to bring up Josh Cross. He's the CEO of Travel Goods Association.
Awesome, thank you so much. Let's give it up one more time for Jimmy, Jim, and Alex. Awesome. So grateful that they're here. And I just want to mention a couple things. Why we're all here. So think of this for a second. 12 seconds, 120 feet. What that represented. And that's all it took to change the world. Wilbur and Orville Wright had a dream. Trying to make something possible that everybody thought was impossible. They created not only changing the world, but they created an industry. In my hand here,
No problem.
is a window of a 747. Think of what they were going through as they first took their flight. Now we have 747s that make the world even smaller. And in that same vein, for people who dare to dream, look at the impossible and make it possible. We have the TGA award that does just that. We honor people who look at things, break barriers, and not only do the impossible, but through that create new industries and opportunities. And with that, I would like to recognize and honor Alex, Jimmy, and Jim with the TGA award for making the impossible possible. Jim? Yeah, it's a 747. I hope you're a Boeing fan. Great. Can we get the other windows, Jody?
This is awesome.
All right. We like to reuse things and be sustainable. So, Jimmy?
Thank you.
Alex? Thank you. Congratulations. We want to thank them, and I hope you've had just learned a little bit about these amazing innovators. They've really broken barriers, just like so many people before us who looked at things that were hard and challenging, and through them were inspired by doing hard things. So thank you. Let's give it up one more time. And if you want to stick around, We're going to give away a couple more prizes. So if you want to, thank you for coming and appreciate all that you've done.
Thank you.
Thank
Well, I
you.
can say one thing, we're all window seat guys.
Yeah, we are.
I'm window seat guy.
How'd you know that?
Awesome. Thank you guys.